Communications Incorporated. Good morning and welcome to King's News for the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025, and I'm Newton to represent the stories we follow this morning. Former President George Weah returns to Liberia, described as deeply troubling as huge armed police presence and reported beating and tear gassing of his supporters at the Roberts International Airport. Criminal Court B sentences Bill Jala to life imprisonment for murdering his girlfriend Princess Lisa in 2024, says Jala's action show clear evidence of malice, premeditation, and an intent to kill. National Trial Judges Association of Liberia takes exception to President worked at 52 magistrate appointments. Niger President Judge Nancy Sammy says the new appointments contradicts previous appointments of 6 individuals as stepping direct and associate magistrates. The rate for Liberian top officials are expected to make the disputed link between autism and the use of pain reliever, Tylenol, and pregnant women, according to U.S. media reports. Botswana has declared a public holiday to celebrate the country's victory in the men's 4 and 400 meters at the World Athletic Championship in Tokyo, the first African nation to win the event. These plus the news bulletin our international world president package. We are taking a very short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back and let's have the news bulletin. Former Liberian President George Weah has arrived in Monrovia following weeks of international engagements abroad. Weah returned to Liberia on Monday, sparked widespread anticipation among supporters, sympathizers, and well-wishers of his party, the Coalition for Democratic Change, as dozens of supporters and political officials were seen president. Prior to his arrival, CDC partisans were mobilized across Montserrat County and surrounding areas. Supporters of the former president were seen carrying the party flags, banners, and T-shirts bearing former President Weah's image, visibly throughout Monrovia early Monday morning, signaling strong support and high turnout for the former president's anticipated homecoming. CDC National Acting Chairman Jangat Ko told Kings FM that the former president return to the country will be used to break grounds for the party's new headquarters construction and other cardinal activities. President Joseph Boakai in January 2024, after serving one-term maintaining, has been keeping a low public profile since leaving office, according to him. He is still considered as one of the most influential political figures in Liberia and a possible alternative for the 2029 presidential and general elections. Meanwhile, in brief address to his supporters, former President Weah expressed disappointment in the government's response to his return. Weah described as deeply troubling to seeing the airport surrounded by heavily armed police and beating of peaceful citizens who turned out to welcome him. He used the occasion to send a clear political message to hundreds of supporters assuring his comeback in the 2029 election. According to him, his return to the country is intended to build a new party headquarters in the coming months and initiate other key issues. He called on partisans to remain peaceful as the fight for the comeback in the 2029. The former Liberian leader returned to the country, was given a rousing welcome from thousands of supporters, but under a heavy police presence that sparked criticism and raised political tensions. Criminal Code B has sentenced defendant Bill Jala to life imprisonment following a guilty plea against him for murdering his girlfriend, Princess Lisa, in 2024. A court found Bill Jala carried out violent, wicked, and deliberate action of stabbing his girlfriend multiple times, leading to her death. Jalal life sentence was read on Monday, September 22nd by Judge Wise A. Wise. Court records have indicated that the defendant had canceled a deadly weapon under his sleeves, ambushed the victim, and inflicted fatal wounds while she lay helpless. In the judgment, the court noted that Jalal's action showed clear evidence of malice, premeditation, and an intent to kill. Defendant Jalal stabbed Princess Wissett 7 times with a silver knife at the Feast Nickel Entertainment Center adjacent the Fun Factory on Dupont Road in Painesville. The president of the National Trial Judges Association of Liberia has taken serious exception to President Joseph Boakar's appointments of 52 magistrates, including Councillor Josephine Ketor, Anthony James Mann, and Anthony Teresa passed away. Judge Nancy Salmon, president of the association, according to our judicial correspondent, argued that the president September 18, 2025 employment for new magistrates went contrary to his previous appointments of 6 individuals as steppenary and associate magistrates on December 20th, 2024 with 4 years tenure consistent with Chapter 7, Section 7.5 of the Judiciary Law. The law states a steppenary magistrate shall hold office for a period of 4 years and shall be eligible for reappointment, but may be removed from office prior to the expiration of his tenure of office for cause or at the pleasure of the president. As a result of the legal provision, the president of the National Association of Trial Judges of Liberia is seeking for an intervention from the judiciary. Her plea was contained in a communication addressed to the court administrator of the Supreme Court, Councillor William Colley. President Joseph Boakai says his administration is determined to invest $8.3 billion United States dollars to transform Liberian lives, including promoting gender equality and youth empowerment over the next 5 years. Speaking Monday at the program marking the United Nations 30th anniversary of the Fourth World Conference on Women, Boakai noted that his government will permanently ban what he called harmful cultural practices, including female genital mutilation. According to him, what was a 3-year moratorium will now be a national law supported by national dialogue and initiate an implementation of the National Action Plan for Women and Girls that would eradicate gender-based violence. He noted that women empowerment is a pillar of national building, adding that his administration is committed and prepared to empower Liberian women. Boakai added that as Liberia embarked on its 2-year term at the United Nations Security Council, the government will ensure that women and young people live in peace and harmony. The Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Augustine Gavin, Monday welcomed a visiting delegation from the United States Meridian Challenge Corporation. The visit is seen as a significant step towards strengthening Liberia's eligibility for a second MCC compact following the successful completion of the first compact in 2021. Speaking during the meeting, Minister Gavin reaffirmed the Liberian government's commitment to transparency, accountability, and sustainable development. He noted that the country is encouraged by the continued engagement with the Meridian Challenge Corporation, which, according to him, has played a pivotal role in Liberia's infrastructure and institutional development. The MCC delegation, led by Madam Carrie Mohan, Managing Director for African Affairs for Compact Operations, expressed appreciation for Liberia's renewed efforts to meet the MCC's stringent eligibility criteria, including control of corruption, sound economic policies, and investments in people. Opposition Alternative National Congress political leader has called on the government of Liberia to treat Liberia's ongoing drug crisis with urgency and declaring it as a national crisis. Speaking Monday in the Bachelor Factory community during his visit at the Rehabilitation Center, Alexander Cummings challenged government to pay attention to the wave of increased drug abuse. Cummings acknowledged the multiple loss of lives as the result of illegal drugs. It emphasized the severity of the crisis and the urgent need for the government to take leadership in combating it, and further praised the efforts of private citizens and institutions for stepping up to help victims of addiction, but insisted that such efforts, while commendable, are insufficient without direct and strategic intervention from the state. The ANC political leader added that only the national government has the tools, resources, and authority to tackle the hiding hands and big fish behind the importation and distribution of dangerous narcotics across Liberia's borders. The Liberian Drug Enforcement Agency has arrested two men and seized a compressed 1,929 kilograms of marijuana, valued as 27,850 Liberian dollars, or 146,000 in District 17 Montserrat County. LDA officer in charge, Gerard Biako, described the operation as a major victory against drug trafficking, adding that it is a clear message to people who are engaged in the illegal trade in Liberia. Addressing a press conference in Monrovia on Monday, Biako identified the two suspects as Omar Muhammad and a 38-year-old Nigerian, well known as Dankote, among the drug cartels in West African region, and Abdullah Kamara, an 18-year-old Sierra Leonean. Meanwhile, LDA officer in charge also confirmed that all LDA officers assigned at the Rabat International Airport in Habel, Magibi County have been withdrawn, noting that two of them are ongoing investigation for under reporting the quantity of narcotics confiscated during the recent airport seizure. According to him, 6 LDO officers were tested positive of illicit drug abuse, and 5 of these, who were volunteers, have been discharged from all the services of the LDA. In a landmark move for professional regulation in Liberia, the Engineering Society of Liberia has officially launched its Lessening and Accreditation Program. The event held at the Monrovia City Hall brought together engineers, policymakers, students, among many others, to witness the formal induction of the ELS Lessening Board and the issuance of licenses to the country's first batch of certified engineers. Speaking during the program, William Yenu, who served as keynote speaker, described the event as a milestone victory for public safety, national development, and professional ethics. He acknowledged that the eventual passage of the Engineering Practice Act into law by the former President Weah in 2023 and now the activation of its lessening framework was a triumph and perseverance over bureaucracy. He further called out corrupt practices in the engineering field, such as bribery, kickbacks, and corner cutting that have contributed to cheap construction and unsafe infrastructure across Liberia. In a related development, the former Minister of Public Works, Ruth Cockott Collins, has encouraged women to take ownership of their roles in the Engineering Society of Liberia and uphold professional standards. Speaking at the launch of the Lessening and Accreditation Program, engineer Madam Coco Collins expressed pride in the engineering sector of the country. The former Public Works Minister urged women in the Engineering Society of Liberia to work hard in earning and own their licenses through competence, diligence, and integrity. Also speaking at the program on behalf of President Joseph Walker, Deputy Minister without portfolio Mamaka Belete said the country is struggling to in terms of maintaining its infrastructure. The National Timber, Wood Construction and Allied Workers Union of Liberia has rejected the decision by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning to pay the debt lodging companies owed its members to a mobile money numbers. Recently, the Liberian government, through the Deputy Minister for Economic Affairs at the Ministry of Finance, announced the money totaling $7 million United States dollars, will be paid to the mobile money of each of the timber workers after a vetting process. But addressing a press conference held in Monrovia on Monday, the UN Secretary General Marcus Blambo said members of the UN are determined not to comply with the finance ministry and cautioned all former timber workers never to send any number to the ministry. According to Blaman, the attempt by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning to pay directly to the mobile money number of each of the former timber workers constitutes a violation of the President's directive. And a pro-youth organization, Youth Movement for Academic Excellence, in partnership with the Solomon Community Leadership, has organized an academic tournament aimed at strengthening young people throughout education. The event held on Johnson Street brought together students and parents to celebrate and encourage young people to prioritize education in their youthful years. Speaking in an interview with King's FM Monday, the founder of the Youth Movement for that's academic excellence, Tom Double, described the Sonoma community as a well-known area for disadvantaged youth who had often burdened with negative perception. Well, if you just joined us, a reminder you're listening to King's News 145 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Stories we follow in this morning. Former President George Weah returns to Liberia, described as deeply troubling. Huge armed police presence and reported beating and tear gassing of his supporters at the Rabat International Airport. Criminal could be sentences Bill Jala to life imprisonment for murdering his girlfriend, Vincent Wilson. In 2024, says Jala's action showed clear evidence of malice, premeditation, and an intent to kill. The National Trial Judges Association of Liberia takes exception to President Joseph Boakai 52 magistrates' appointments. National President George Nancy Sami says the new appointments contradict previous appointments of 6 individuals as cabinet direct associate magistrates. Away from Liberia, Trump officials are expected to make a disputed link between autism and the use of pain reliever Tylenol in pregnant women, according to U.S. media reports. Botswana has declared a public holiday to celebrate the country's victory in the men's 4x400 meters at the World Athletic Championship in Tokyo, the first African nation to win the event. These are stories to follow here this morning in this newsroom. But we are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll give you the voices of the newspapers. Welcome back and thanks for rejoining us. Former Liberian President George Weah has arrived in Monrovia following weeks of international engagements abroad. Weah returned to Liberia on Monday. Spark widespread anticipation among supporters, sympathizers, and well-wishers of his party, the Coalition for Democratic Change, as dozens of supporters and political officials were seen gathered at the Rabat International Airport to receive the former president. CDC National Acting Chairman Jangat Ko told Kings FM that the former president return to the country will be used to break grounds for the party new headquarters construction and other cardinal activities.
Expected to be undertaken upon the arrival of the former president at the level of the party?
Basically, like we said, this is just to give the president a tumultuous welcome back home. After being out, he has been out engaging strategic consultation with regional and continental leaders. And we And based on the work he has done, whenever the president is out of the country, he is engaged and trying to work for the people of Liberia, even though he's a former president, because he loves the people. He doesn't have to be president to do good for the Liberian people. Liberian people can be assured that the president, even while he's in retirement from the presidency, he is constructively engaged with regional, international stakeholders to ensure that by the time he comes to power, a lot of good things will have been lined up for the benefit of the Liberian people, because he feels the suffering since he left office. He see how the suffering of the people have increased. All of the benefits that he was providing, most of the benefits have been cut off. People have been dismissed. Motorcyclists have been harassed. Their motorcycles have been illegally arrested from them. And we want to say Liberian people continue to exhibit civility, continue to exhibit peace, continue to exercise your right to free speech, continue to exercise your right to free assembly. And as we are going to be at the airport today, and we're going to be to make sure we welcome our leader in tumultuous faction.
As the chairman of the,
like we have assured the Liberian people and citizens, we will be announcing the date for the groundbreaking ceremony of the construction of the brand new headquarters of the CDC that is even going to surpass our previous headquarters. So if the government meant the destruction and demolition of our headquarters for evil, and we're going to turn that setback into a great comeback, and the people are standing with the CDC. Even people who are not citizens are standing with the CDC and pledging their contribution towards the construction of a brand new headquarters for the CDC. Because in the minds of many of these people, the destruction of the CDC headquarters was not an attack only on the CDC, but was an attack on the peace and civility of the country. It was an attack on the democratic credential of the country. It was an attack on the democratic gains that this country has made in the last 20 years. And they see that it is wrong, and that's why they are standing with the CDC in making sure that the CDC headquarters is reconstructed.
Meanwhile, in brief address to his supporters, former President Weah expressed disappointment in the government's response to his return. Weah described as deeply troubling to seeing the airport surrounded by heavily armed police and beating of peaceful citizens who turned out to welcome him.
Make sure that citizens get our party back. So we don't need to fight. So we need to be stable with peace in this country, and that's the only way we can move forward. All of our friends and citizens, what happened to us, don't worry. George Panaria is here. We're going to restore, we will rebuild our party headquarters, and that's our goal, our mission. Our mission is not to come and black airport and police fighting. No, leave them alone. Leave them alone. We came to create a party for our people. We were able to do that, and we are still able to sustain the political fight. So don't worry. I'm back home. We're going to build our party in a record time, and we'll be okay. Yes, it's my country. I was born right in this beautiful country, and I'm back home. It's always a pleasure to be back home, but no one chasing you. I'm a free man, leader of a political party, this party, and I'm back home. I'm proud to be back home, to be with my people. We got a lot of things to do.
Former Liberian President George Weah. Earlier, you heard the voice of CDC acting National Chairman Jangat Ko. President Joseph Boakai says his administration is determined to invest 8.3 billion United States dollars to transform Liberian lives, including promoting gender equality and youth empowerment over the next 5 years. President Boakai speaking Monday at the program marking the United Nations 30th anniversary of the Fourth World Conference on Women. Boakai noted that his government will permanently ban what he called harmful cultural practices, including female genital mutilation. According to him, what was a 3-year moratorium will now be a national law, supported by national dialogue, and initiate an implementation of national action plan for women and girls that would eradicate gender-based violence.
Today, as we gather under the theme of recommitting, resourcing, and accelerating the implementation of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, Liberia sees this anniversary not as a ceremonial occasion, but as an urgent call for action. Under my leadership, Liberia is determined to move from pledges to results. We are proud to stand among the first member state leading on the two important action agendas: ending violence against women, girls, and investing in young people, girls, and future generations. Through our agenda for inclusive development, Liberia will invest $8.3 billion over 5 years to transform lives with gender equality, youth empowerment, education, healthcare, and social development at all levels. Our commitments are clear. We pledge zero tolerance for gender-based violence, with massive awareness and public education programs with dedicated budget allocation. We will permanently ban harmful cultural practices. What was once a 3-year moratorium will now become a national law supported by national dialogue and alternative livelihood program. We will implement a national action plan for women and girls to provide a roadmap for empowerment, voice, and protection. An African proverb reminds us, when spider webs unite, they can tie a lion. Similarly, when women are fully empowered and supported, entire nations thrive. As Liberia embarks on a 2-year term on the United Nations Security Council, we will ensure that the voices of women and youth are not only heard, but also shaped the women and youth peace and security. Our programs are already changing lives. The Liberian Women Empowerment Project, reaching 36,000 business women across the country, impacting more than 260,000 Liberian lives through increased income, resilience, and growth. The Realist Project supports 3,600.
Liberian President Joseph Boakai there speaking. The Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Augustine Gafwan, Monday welcomed a visiting delegation from the United States Meridian Challenge Corporation. The visit is seen as a significant step towards strengthening Liberia's eligibility for the second MCC compact following the successful completion of the first compact in 2021. Speaking during the meeting, Minister Gafwan reaffirmed the Liberian government's commitment to transparency, accountability, and sustainable development.
Thank you, Kari and team. I know that there's the question that is coming in over the week or so, others will come. On behalf of our President, His Excellency Joseph Joma Boakai, Vice President, Honorable Jeremiah Panku, government, and the people of Liberia, and I stress the people of Liberia, who are the direct benefit MCC support. We want to welcome you wholeheartedly to Liberia, and if it's your first time, many things to see in Liberia. We are very elated that you could come. We know that the journey is still ways to go, but from where we were, where we are, we appreciate the support you've given us thus far. Come to engage us in government. You come to engage Liberian stakeholders, not in government. You come to engage even private stakeholders, people in the diplomatic corps. Over this period of engagement where we try to, working with you, conclude something about constraints and growth analysis to identify sectors for possible support, you can rest assured of the ministry's fullest cooperation. We try to, as much as possible, backstop the mission. Just this morning, I was the charge d'affaires of the U.S. Embassy and the new Economic Council. They were in my office. All of us are talking about your coming, and the embassy has been very supportive of our effort. And this is the government-wide thing. The president is in New York at the UN General Assembly. I traveled tonight to join them, but they are all following. And that the goal is to be able for you to gather all the information you need in an unbiased way, so that you can conclude your report that will inform the board decision. I usually say here that, when we develop the country, we unite the country. The MCC support you gave through the first compact, where we got a grant of, I think, 257 million that went principally to the rehabilitation of the Mount Coffee hydroelectric dam. That dam remains the biggest source power in Liberia today. If you go around Liberia or in Monrovia and see how people jump for joy whenever they get light, whenever power comes to them.
The MCC delegation led by Madam Karit Mohan, Managing Director for African Affairs for Compact Operations, expressed appreciation for Liberia's renewed efforts to meet the MCC's stringent eligibility criteria, including control of corruption, sound economic policies, and investments in people. She disclosed that the delegation of the MCC team will tour selective project sites in the country, engaging with local stakeholders and government officials.
Yes, so Mr. Minister, I would like to thank you and your whole team for the extremely warm welcome. We are really, really thrilled to be here. I had the honor to work briefly on the first compact for Liberia, and I traveled here in 2013, but it's been a very long time. So I'm really happy to be back. And at MCC, we're extremely proud of the partnership that we developed through the first MCC Compact. We see it as a huge success, and we recognize the government of Liberia and the people of Liberia as extremely strong partners. So we're really happy to be back here again to prepare for our board meeting in December as MCC's board of directors considers Liberia for another compact. I wanted to say we will be here to be focusing, first of all, on the constraints to economic growth analysis, which is similar to what we did during the first compact. And we look forward to working, as you said, with stakeholders across the board, from government, private sector, civil society, to really understand what are the needs of the Liberian economy and where can MCC most effectively invest, because we see our investments as our grants as investments in the Liberian people, and we know how much potential there is in the Liberian people. We'll also add sectors that will be growth opportunities to benefit not only the government of Liberia and the people of Liberia, but American investors as well. So as you know, the Trump administration has a focus on trade, not aid, and we know there are excellent opportunities for American investors here, so we're looking to explore those as well. But overall, we're just extremely grateful and very glad to be here this week, and we look forward to meeting with people across Monrovia and around the country to learn more as we prepare for our board. So again, thank you very much.
The head of MCC delegation to Liberia, Karit Mohan, earlier. You heard the voice of Liberia's finance and development minister. What if you just join us for 10:30 the hour on Monday, listening to this news run the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Seriously following this morning, former President George Weah returns to Liberia, described as deeply troubling huge armed police presence and reported beating, tear gassing of his supporters at the Rabat International Airport. Criminal court sentences Jala to life imprisonment for murdering his girlfriend Princess Wuse in 2024. Says Jala's actions show clear evidence of malice, premeditation, and an intent to kill. National Trial Judges Association of Liberia takes exception to President Walker's 52 magistrates appointments. National President Judge Leslie Sammy says the new appointments contradict previous appointments of 6 individuals as secondary and associate magistrates. Away from Liberia, job officials are expected to make a disputed link between autism and the use of pain reliever Tylenol in a pregnant woman, according to USB and reports. Botswana has declared a public holiday to celebrate the country's victory in the men's 4x400 meters at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, the first African nation to win the event. The Republic of Ghana will continue with more forces in Tokyo. Oppositional Alternative National Congress political leader has called on the government of Liberia to treat Liberia's ongoing drugs epidemic with urgency by declaring it as a national crisis. Speaking Monday in Bachwe Factory community during his visit at the rehabilitation center, Alexander Cummings challenged government to pay attention to the wave of increased drugs abuse. Cummings acknowledged the multiple loss of lives as the result of illegal drug abuse. It emphasized the severity of the crisis and the urgent need for the government to take leadership in combating it.
Of the Liberian government to this crisis. As I said, everything I do, I say people put a political lens on it, and that's okay. But we have a national emergency, a national crisis, and we are not treating it that way. As a private citizen, a private institution, we will try to help in our own small way, but it will take the government to lead this effort, to treat the effort for the emergency that it is. It is only the government of Liberia that can stop the drugs from coming to our country. No private citizen can do that. Only the government can do that. The government is the only one that can go after the hidden hands, the big fish who are benefiting from this poison that's coming to our country. They're the only one that can put the resources at the border to stop the drugs, to work with the neighboring governments. They are the only people that can do that. On the other side, the rehabilitation, citizens can help, like Pastor Jerry is doing with this discovery program here. And as I say, in our small way will help as well. But again, the government has to take the lead in this effort. Otherwise, we'll lose, and we are losing a whole generation of young people, which we cannot afford to do. So that's why we're calling the attention of the Liberian people, of our government. As I said in there, Liberian, we are paying the ministers. They get paid every month. The president, the vice president, legislature, they get paid every month. It is their job to address the challenges facing Liberian people. They're not doing us a favor. They get paid for what they do. They were elected to do it. They control the resources of the country, and they need to prioritize it in the right way to look after the young people of Liberia.
My name is Jonathan Gold. He's the political leader of the Alternative National Congress, Alexander Cummings. They're speaking. Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has arrested 2 men and seized a compressed 1,929 kilograms of marijuana valued at 27,850,760 Liberian dollars, or 146,604 United States dollars in District 17, Montserrat County. LDA officer in charge, Fitzgerald Biako, described the operation as a major victory against drug trafficking, adding that it is a clear message to people who are engaged in the illegal trade in Liberia.
I am pleased to report a significant milestone in our ongoing war against drugs and illicit substances and trafficking and distribution of narcotics across our country. On September 18, 2025, following a careful coordinated intelligence, the LDA confiscated 1,929 kilograms of compressed marijuana in the District 17, Broom City, Montserrat County. This seizure has an estimated street value of 27,850,760 Liberian dollars, an equivalent of approximately 146,604 United States dollars. This operation marked a major victory in our fight against drug trafficking, and it is a clear message to all who engage in this illegal trade. Liberia will no longer be a safe haven for drug traffickers. We also confirmed the arrest of 2 suspects during the operation. Mr. Omar Mohammed, 38 years, a Nigerian national, commonly known in the sub-region as Dangote, a major drug trafficker within the West African sub-region, and Mr. Abdullah Kamara, 18 years old. Both suspects are currently in the LDA custody and undergoing thorough investigation. Upon conclusion, they will be appropriately charged and followed the code for prosecution in accordance with the laws of the Republic of Liberia.
Meanwhile, LDA officer in charge also confirmed that all LDA officers assigned at the Rabas International Airport in Habel, Magibi County have been withdrawn, noting that 2 of them are on ongoing investigation for under-reporting the quantity of narcotics confiscated during a recent airport seizure. According to him, 6 LDA officers were tested positive of illicit drug abuse, and 5 of these, who were volunteers, have been discharged from all the services of the LDA.
As part of our reform effort, we have withdrawn all LDA personnel assigned to the Rawa International Airport due to concern of misconduct. Out of 8 officers recalled, 2 are currently under investigation for under-reporting the quantity of narcotics confiscated during the recent airport seizure. The LDA will not tolerate any act of corruption, negligence, or action that undermines the integrity of the local institution. We have continued to implement mandatory drug testing policy for all LDA officers. I am pleased to report that the testing process for LDA headquarters in Monrovia and Broom County have been completed. However, it is with disappointment that we inform the public that 6 officers, 1 employee, and 5 volunteers were tested positive of the illicit drug abuse. Volunteers include Lao Yake, C. Tony Garnett, Newman Melin Moni, Lawrence J. Feju, Milton Bray, all volunteers. I hereby will immediately effect discharge from all activities of the LDA. Officers Roosevelt T. Colley with specimen number M-43SEC-3 is hereby suspended time indefinite and 10 other professional standards for processing. This is just the beginning. We are committed to purging the agency for any elements that compromise the credibility of this mission.
He is the officer in charge at the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, Fijara Biako. They are speaking. And away from Liberia, Trump officials are expected to make a disputed link between autism and the use of pain reliever Tylenol in pregnant women, according to U.S. media reports. At an Oval Office given on Monday, the U.S. president will reportedly advise pregnant women in the U.S. to only take Tylenol, known as paracetamol as well, to relieve high fevers. On Sunday, Trump said he had an amazing announcement coming on autism, saying it was out of control, but they might now have a reason why. Some studies have shown a link between pregnant women taking Tylenol and autism, but these findings are inconsistent and inconclusive. Tylenol maker Kenfo has defended the use of the drug in pregnant women. Botswana has declared a public holiday to celebrate the country's victory in the men's 4x400 meters at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, the first African nation to win the event. President Duman Boko hailed the gold medal as a historic African win in an online address praising the team for their performance. He announced Monday, 29 September, as a holiday to celebrate the achievement a day ahead of the country's Independence Day. On that notice, I would like to go home this morning on this edition of King's News, number 4 to 5 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. But just before we go home this morning, let's remind you of stories we are following. Former President George Weah returns to Liberia, describes as deeply troubling huge armed police presence and reported beating and tear gassing of his supporters at the Rabas International Airport. Criminal Code B sentences Bill Jala to life imprisonment for murdering his girlfriend Princess Wilson in 2024, says Jala's actions show clear evidence of malice, premeditation, and an intent to kill. National Trial Judges Association of Liberia takes exception to President Boakai 52 magistrates appointments. National President George Nessie Simon says the new appointments contradict previous appointments of 6 individuals as statutory and associate magistrates. Away from Liberia, jump officials are expected to make a dispute a link between auditing and the use of illegal Tylenol in pregnant women, according to U.S. media reports. Botswana has declared a public holiday to celebrate the country's victory in the men's 400 and 400 meters at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, the first African nation to win the event. These are stories we follow here this morning in King's Newsroom. Let us still join us this afternoon at 1 o'clock. I wish that will be your another edition of the program. Please, well, I would like to say many thanks to all of our reporters, correspondents, news editors who helped me make this package. Our sources, my name is Newton Toba. I presented this edition of the program. Thanks for listening and watching. Good morning.